So that was a really crazy game that just happened there between the Packers and the Ravens. It was a little too close for my taste personally. When they scored and they were going for two, I was sitting there, I was sweating it out a little, thinking to myself, please, please do not, man, if they would have gotten that two-point conversion, of course the Packers still would have had 40 seconds left to go down and maybe kick a field goal, but I was just really hoping that they wouldn't make that, get that two-point conversion. And luckily, on that play, not Lamar Jackson, he didn't play this game. Tyler Huntley comes out, throws it, Mark Andrews, Eric Stokes is on him, shuts him down. Packers win the game 31-30, and I posted my reaction to that, and I was nervous. I'm guessing you guys were a little nervous there as well. And so the Packers, in the final few minutes, almost gave this game away, but luckily they did come out with the win, which is really, all that matters in the end. Clearly, there's some things that the Packers could have done better. And so I will talk about sort of my takeaways from this entire game. But if you guys are new here and you haven't subscribed and you want to see more Packers content, feel free to subscribe. I put out daily Packers content, news, updates, all things like that. So subscribe if you want to see more of that. So just taking a look at sort of how this game finished off, and then I'll go through some other things as well. So with about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Packers kicked a field goal and we're up 31-17. So at that point, I was thinking to myself, okay, the Packers basically have this one in the bag. We're up by 14. Maybe they come back and score, maybe not, but it felt like the game was sort of won by the Packers. But clearly that was not the case as it came down to the wire on that final two-point conversion. So with 4 minutes left, Tyler Huntley runs it in for a touchdown. He was, on those final two possessions, he was just running all around. They were talking about it on the broadcast, how the Packers just really weren't containing him, and he was just running around. And if we take a look at his total stats for rushing for the day, he had 13 carries for 73 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Both of those touchdowns, which came in the final two possessions versus this Packers defense. So, with his rushing ability, clearly that guy he can run around like crazy. I know Lamar Jackson didn't play in this game, but Tyler Huntley, he can play. He's a really good player. And the Packers really almost gave this one away without, with their lack of ability to stop him when it came to the run. So luckily the Packers were able to, hold it up on that two-point conversion and come away with the win, because that could have easily, that could have been a loss if they would have scored on that two-point conversion. We're sitting here maybe talking about the way the Packers even just crumbled in the end. But luckily, they got the job done. That's all that matters. But clearly, they need to improve in a few different ways. One way that the Ravens really beat us this game, which coming into the game, this was the one guy I was a little bit, wondering how's he going to do. Mark Andrews. Last week he had an amazing game. And this week, Mark Andrews has 10 receptions, 136 yards, averaging 13.6 yards per catch, and 2 touchdowns. In the beginning of the game, in the first half, I'm pretty sure the 2 touchdowns were both in the first half, if I'm not mistaken, both on Darnell Savage, I'm pretty sure. And so the Packers really just didn't have an answer for Mark Andrews a majority of the game. And as we were going through the third quarter, the Packers defense was doing pretty good. I think that they held them to a field goal, I believe, on the first possession that the Ravens had in the second half, and I was like, okay, that's good, stopping them in the red zone. In the next possession, we stopped them on fourth down. Packers get the ball back at the 30-yard line on their own 30, or on the Ravens 30. And so I was like, okay, the Packers defense is actually doing good in this second half. And then they sort of didn't do as well in the final 2 possessions as I already, talked about in this game. But luckily, even though the defense did, give up a good amount of yardage to this team, Tyler Huntley threw for 215 yards, had a 99.4 rating. They ran for 143 yards, averaged 5.5 yards per carry in this game. Most of it coming from Tyler Huntley. Of course, in this game, the Packers were without Kenny Clark, which I think, not having Kenny Clark in there is a big loss for this Packers defense, and luckily we were able to pull it out even being without Kenny Clark. But taking a look to the other side of the ball with Aaron Rodgers and sort of the way he played, he has been playing, out of his mind these past few weeks, even though he has this toe injury. He tied the Packers, total passing touchdown record today with Brett Favre. Almost came in there and broke it, but wasn't able to in this game. But Aaron Rodgers goes 23 of 31, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 132.2 rating. An amazing game from Aaron Rodgers, once again, just being efficient as he always is. And then a leading receiver in this game was Marquez Valdes-Scantling. 5 receptions, 98 yards, 1 touchdown. A really great game for Marquez Valdes-Scantling. In this one, especially with that 1 touchdown pass, Aaron Rodgers finds him, grabs it, reaches over the goal line. So awesome to see him coming in, being productive, making some plays. And with the Packers, having all these injuries at wide receiver, with, of course, Randall Cobb being in there injured, we've needed these other guys to step up. And today, Marquez Valdes-Scantling really stepped up in this one. We take a look next. Devontae, 6 receptions, 44 yards, a touchdown. Not like a crazy productive game today from Devontae, but still, overall, an all right day from him with that touchdown catch in this game. And then we take a look at Packers rushing. Didn't really run it super well. 25 carries, 96 yards, averaging 3.8 yards per carry in this game. A.J. Dillon, 7 carries, 22 yards. Aaron Jones, 13 carries, 58 yards. So overall in this game, I think it was a really, really good showing from this Packers offense once again. They have been really rolling the past few weeks. Today they went 4 or 5 in the red zone, which is great to see considering that has been one area where the Packers have struggled, for a lot of this year, and they did pretty good today in that area. And so the fact that the Packers are rolling, the fact that Aaron Rodgers is playing at the level he's playing at right now, I think it's still a good sign. And with this defense playing the way that they can play at times, they have the potential to be a great defense. And today, they didn't have the best game. There were a few, good moments, a few times they stopped the Ravens, a couple times on 4th down. But definitely some things to clean up, especially when it came to trying to stop Tyler Huntley because, coming to this game, Lamar Jackson, of course, was ruled out like an hour or so before the game. We were wondering coming to this game, is Lamar Jackson going to play? And even though he didn't play, Tyler Huntley, I know he's not as good as Lamar Jackson, but you wouldn't think that guy was like a backup out there, playing against us. He is very, very talented watching that game and just his rushing ability, his ability to pass around the ball. Really, really good quarterback. So props to him for playing as well as he did. And I think the Packers just didn't really have an answer for his, rushing ability. We were still getting some pressure at times. Rashawn Gary was flying in there. But just with his ability to get out of the pocket, to break outside, and no one could catch him. When he ran on the outside, anytime he would get away, no one could catch him. And most guys, of course, don't have that ability to run the ball like that. So that's something that the Packers probably won't have to deal with, super often with a guy of that rushing ability. But if we ever do face someone like that again, we got to, come up with a different game plan there, maybe contain a little better, not allow the guy to, do all that damage with his feet. And then, of course, trying to stop Mark Andrews. That didn't really work very well in today's game. And then one area where the Packers struggled once again was on special teams. There are just so many miscues from the special teams. I think they had 3 penalties or 4 penalties. That one near the end of the game where, we're about to punt, delay of game, have to move the ball back 5 yards. The punt was 40 onto, it was in our own territory still. It was a 40-something yard punt. And there are other miscues by these Packers special teams once again. And so that's just one area that really needs to be cleaned up. And it's been, consistently through this whole season, especially last week as well. Just the inability to, play smart football, to play well, to not do, make stupid mistakes on special teams. So I don't know what the answer is there because clearly the Packers are probably trying to fix these issues, but they're just not really being fixed up to this point. So coming into the playoffs, coming in later in the season, when there are going to be lots more of these close games, we need to have our special teams, playing at a higher level because you never know when some mistake on special teams can, cost you a game eventually. So we got to get that cleaned up coming into the rest of the season. But overall, luckily the Packers did secure the win. We do have 11 wins. We are sitting at 11-3. And even though it was close, even though it was a little too close for comfort, we did come away with the win. So I think that's the positive thing about this game. Packers are sitting at 11-3. And now, if you guys didn't see today, the Lions actually beat the Arizona Cardinals, which I didn't see coming whatsoever. So moving a little bit ahead of the Arizona Cardinals, the Buccaneers, I think, are about to play. They may be starting in 10 or 15 minutes. We'll see if they win. Hopefully, they don't win. So the Packers can, be really secure in that number 1 seed. But luckily, the Packers have won. And if we can win the rest of our games, we will have the number 1 seed. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you guys subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next video.